Okay, I'll start with the first one. Um, so in my situation, I used to work at Avis car rental. And so I was like in a follower position, and now we were divided into groups for production and sales. So our team lead would set a plan or like a goal in place for bonuses that range depending in dollar value depending on our productivity and sales. So to me, this was like a source of reward power in that they said if we sold X amount of upgrades, then we were eligible for a monthly bonus of X dollar amount. Um, I really like this method because it makes you work harder, but it also allows for a positive reward following your work. So that would be my first example for the first one.
Okay. At my job, I employ power quite frequently, actually, because my title is actually a professional color technician. So what I do is I put color in paint, and I do eye matches and all sorts of things like that. So it actually does require skill and expertise, especially with training new hires. So they look to me for that knowledge, expert power over them, I guess, because eye matches are not easy to do and require experience. And then in the past, I've also had legitimate power. Um, I used to work as a lot attendant, a lot manager, oversaw lot attendants. And so, I mean, I was in a position of power, so I was the boss. And I also, at the same time, was a follower of the car dealership. But in that case, I had the power given to me. So, I was a higher, so that's how I had the legitimate power in that case.
Nice. So you'll probably be hearing a lot of examples from me about soccer, but uh, so I think it was a year ago, I was the coach of the men's club or the women's club soccer team. And so in that case, I guess you could say I had a coercive power or the power to administer punishments just because if they were acting out of line or if they were, fooling around too much, I would tell them, like, hey, you got to get on the line and we got to do some sprints. Um, and so in the book, it says that that would like ruin our relationship and it would make them after a while it wouldn't be as effective, and I thought that was the case because they didn't pay attention a lot of the time, and it got worse as the season went on. And so every time that I would deliver a punishment of running, it would have little to no effect after a while. So I had to change my leadership style up a bit just so that they would pay attention and do what I wanted them to do. As a follower, I really enjoy having a follower that exerts expert power. I just got a job at the Behavioral Research Lab at ASU, and our lead researcher Kevin Cosgrove knows like a ton of stuff about Qualtrics, and he also knows a lot about just other research methods. So just because he has the knowledge to do everything that I don't, and all these things that I want to learn about, he exerts that expert power because I want to learn from him, and he's just very knowledgeable.
Javen?
All right, you can go on me. Okay, here we go. So I guess I would say that for the whole leader and follower thing, I'm more of a follower because I'm in an internship that I just started. I feel like as an intern, I kind of have to follow what my managers say and everything. But I just started like a new one, and my boss is really open to like hearing our ideas and stuff. So I feel like I will start getting more like leadership ability in it stuff. But I don't know. At the moment, I feel like I'm in a follower role, and I just kind of take directions and stuff because I am an intern. But I feel like more in like group projects and stuff, I try to take more leadership because I don't want to be one that like sits back and doesn't do anything. So I feel like as I work my way up in like the company and stuff, then I will be more in one of those roles. But at the moment, that's how it is. So.
As a follower, I like to like follow expert power because I like people knowing what they're doing. I like, having them, give me some of their information or pass down a lot of their expertise. However, my position now, you'll probably hear me say a lot about judicial affairs a lot because my position's like strictly coercive power because I literally punish fraternities for doing like stupid things. And I try to do like a lot of reward power. So if they have like good behavior for, a few months or whatever, take them off their sanction that I give them. But I try to just incorporate sort of everything because I also do possess a little bit of expertise by bylaws because I know the bylaws like the back of my hand. But I kind of just try to incorporate all of them in sort of like my leadership style.
So did you have to be, your first leader, did you learn from him, and did you figure out that there was like some right ways to exert power and like some wrong ways to exert power in order to like get those guys to like follow your lead on things?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I didn't have any like form of leadership, or I wasn't able to follow anyone when I took my position. I kind of just had to figure it all out myself because like my leader, once he was done with his position, he's just like, all right, screw this. I'm done doing everything. I'm just going to like not really associate myself with it. Then elections came up. So I went in blind. Like I just had to adapt my own style from, sort of what I've done in the past or what the type of leadership I've seen. So like my old manager, she would just sort of try to incorporate everything where she'd be like the cool boss. And then if she needed to like put people in line and exert coercive power, then she totally would. So I sort of try to like develop those same leadership styles, but it was a little difficult at first transferring it to like a position where I'm strictly just based off punishment. And like I'm like a very outgoing guy. Like I don't like punishments at all. So it's kind of weird that I have this position. Yeah. So I just try to like, ease the tension all the time.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I was president of the men's club soccer team, just because I go from, and a couple of my friends pointed it out to me, but I went from being a friend. Oh, wow.
What?
I went from being a friend to being like someone who had some authority, so it was kind of crazy. Some guys didn't like it, some guys did like it, but I just had to show them that I was very knowledgeable of everything, just so I would have some of that expert power, but I also had coercive power just because like I had to get on some guys and kind of nag them if they weren't getting some stuff done. So it was weird having to be like the dynamic of being a friend but also being a leader, kind of like a coach, but it was kind of tough.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like when we have like parties and stuff, my own fraternity, they're like, oh, watch out, IFC guys here. They just say like stupid things like that. And you just kind of not let it get to you. Just remember that half of them will give you, crap about it, but at the end of the day, they definitely all like look up to you because I get text messages sometimes saying, oh, I appreciate what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. But, along the way, I think you definitely lose, some friends and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have a leadership role.
You want to go on to the next topic?
The next one is just pretty much about the cultural differences and stuff and how that like changes the way that we interact with leaders and deploy power.
Mm-hmm. I'll start. I think cultural differences definitely greatly influence how we interact with people. Not only just employing power, but just interacting. because you look at different cultures and they do things completely differently. You have like a high and a low context culture. Interacting with one another, it can cause a lot of issues. Because high context cultures, they have a lot. The meaning is not so much in the words as in the background information. And then you take a culture like ours, which is a low context. Our words, we mean what our words mean. So it can definitely cause some issues when talking to people from different countries, because they think that you know what they mean, but you really don't. Another thing, the masculinity and femininity of cultures can cause some issues at times, because you have a highly masculine culture, like Japan, that stresses competition, and that's how they measure success. And then you have, let's say, Japan interacting with someone from a Scandinavian country, which is a highly feminine country, where they put less of a stress on success and, not success, but less of a stress on competition. So the culture could try to impose their will on the other individual. And as a leader, I think we definitely have to be aware of this in order to understand and how to interact with followers that may come from different cultures. So.
I agree.
Anyone else have anything else to say about that?
I'll add on to it just to kill the awkward silence. But there's a lot of cultural differences, even in fraternities. I mean, Rachel, you're in a sorority, right?
Yeah.
I believe you said, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could see it with like the different chapters that are, we have different values, and some people value different things over others. Like my fraternity at first didn't really care too much about GPAs, but since then we've cared like significantly about GPAs, and you see like the culture start to shift. And being in the position that I am, I deal with all these different cultures. So like I have to figure out ways to relate with every single one of them. And, at times it's difficult. And I think being a follower in it, you don't really see what, the leaders have to deal with, these cultural differences. Because sometimes like you could say something that like just totally offends someone. Like I have an instance, I always say, "What's up, guys?" like all the time. I don't know what my problem is, but there's a fraternity that has, transgenders and people of that in that, I don't know how to say it politically correct, but like that. And I said, "What's up, guys?" and I offended them. And, I was like, wow, I had no idea I offended them. Like that wasn't my intention of offending them because I said, "What's up, guys?" But it's stuff like that you kind of just.
Yeah, I think when you are in a leadership role, you definitely have to watch how you address people, especially if you're in a leadership position where you have friends in the group and they're considered your followers because you are the leader. And even though they're your friends in that moment or whatever situation you're in, whether you're at work or like in your fraternity, you are still a leader. So they should respect you as the leader. And I think like addressing people is sometimes hard, or like they might think it's like favoritism if you're like the leader and all of the other people see you, how you interact with your friends that are still your followers. They can get offended by that as well because they think, oh, well, they've been friends prior to you becoming a leader. And
Completely.
so they think you should act a certain way. They expect you to act a certain way toward them. But, I think it's hard. I've been in that position as well, like being a leader and one of my best friends having to follow me. And thankfully, she was a good person. So she respected my title fully. And as soon as work was over, we were like best friends and I was not the leader. But I do think it's very important, like how you address people. And in every different culture, like I think there are, like, I know, like with the Asian culture, like you shouldn't, in America, like when we shake someone's hand, we look them in their eye, or we should. But I know in the Asian culture, I've heard that it's not good to look at, if they're older than you, let's say, that it's not good to look at them in their eye when you address them. So I think,
Respect.
right. And then I think just to add on to that, like religion in leadership is like a big thing, because some leaders will implement their religious views onto their following, and I don't think that it's hard as a follower to want to look up to a leader that has hard religious views, because sometimes your views don't align with theirs. So as to be a great leader, you should be a little bit versatile in your mindset, and if you want a bigger following, sometimes I know it's hard for certain leaders to leave out their religious views, because in America, like we have many different religions, but in other places of the world, most of their following is like follows one religion. But if they want to be international followers, they kind of have to keep their mindset open, and they have the way they speak and how they address people. They definitely have to keep it, versatile, because we don't all follow the same religion everywhere we go.
Yeah, it was good.
How are we doing on time now?
We're close to 16 minutes.
Oh,
Sorry
shoot.
about that. I just didn't want to cut you off.